Welcome to A Leader's Journey, the podcast for leaders who deeply believe there is a better way to lead and desire to create their unique journey towards becoming a legacy leader. I'm your host, Shannon Hammond. Over the last 20 years as a corporate leader and leadership performance coach, I've learned that many leaders believe there is a predefined path they have to follow and struggle leaning into their unique gifts that will create lasting impact and fulfillment. They end up feeling stuck, unhappy, and unfulfilled in the day-to-day of their role, and are challenged with why, since they have experienced success in their career and in life. I'm here to help leaders think through their leadership journey, learn how to ask themselves better questions, and learn the formula to create their leadership journey by design. If you are ready to design your unique leadership journey, lead with confidence, and love the teams you lead, then you are in the right place. Let's do this. Hello, my friends and fellow leaders. I'm glad to have you back here with me this week on the podcast. And if this is your first time tuning in, welcome. I'm so happy that you are here. I know that your time is valuable, and I'm grateful that you've chosen to spend some of it here with me today. Happy 2025. Can you believe it? It is already the new year. It's exciting to be starting a new year, and I love all that comes with the fresh start of the new year. Setting goals, the excitement of the future, and starting out the year strong. To kick off season 2 of the podcast and 2025, I wanted to share with you today my thoughts on the current state of leadership. It's important to know where we are and where we are starting from so we can more accurately measure the progress that we made and be able to make sure that we are focusing on the right things for us and for leadership in this current state and the current year. Every year, leaders face new challenges. And with the workforce shifting, the viewpoint on work shifting, and let's be honest, the whole world is shifting, we can't deny that the state of leadership is shifting too. 2025 is going to be one of the hardest years for leaders, and it has the potential to be one of the most rewarding and redefining year for leaders. Right now, leaders are overwhelmed by the expectations that are placed on them. They are expected to improve efficiencies, increase talent retention, create a culture that excites employees and makes them feel supported, and keep up with all the responsibilities on their plate and the new responsibilities that keep getting added every single day. The demands on leaders is high. They are inundated with emails, calls, texts, chats, and everyone thinks that their concern is the most important, and they demand an answer for their issue yesterday. Leaders are expected to have all of the answers and to have them immediately because decisions need to be made now. In a world where everyone expects instant gratification and immediate answers, it puts pressure on leaders to make the call. And by the way, they better get it right. Many leaders are treading water just to stay afloat. They know they need to do better, and they deeply desire to do better. Yet they don't know how to do that while meeting the expectations of their role and keeping up with everything that lands on their plate. They're trying to balance competing expectations, and oftentimes very little grace is given to the leader. In the workforce today, there are also multiple generations. Teams and organizations, they are made up of employees from their 20s all the way through their 70s and 80s, and sometimes maybe even older. Intern programs are on the rise, which is incredible, and many organizations are taking on interns that are still in high school as the new generation desires to get hands-on experience as early as possible and make that decision for what they want for their future. This is a great thing for the workforce. However, it does create many challenges for leaders and their teams as they are trying to get different generations to work together, see each other's perspectives, and the value that everyone brings to the team, all while navigating what happens personally in each of their stages of life, including the leaders. Now, one of the biggest gaps that I see in today's leadership is leader development. Most leaders have minimal development prior to moving into a leadership role. And when they do get training, it's usually a standard group, one size fits all training, not the personalized training that they really need to be set up for success. In most organizations, new leader development and ongoing leader development is optional. So even after getting promoted, they are not getting the development that they need to navigate the challenges that are ahead of them, leverage their strengths, and really grow within their leadership. If that leader isn't passionate about personal development and seeking it outside of their organization, they're just going through the motions, and no organization or team will be successful with a complacent, stagnant leader. The current state of leadership is tough. Leadership is harder now than ever and going to be even more challenging in the new year. It's not all gloom and doom either. While leaders are going to face challenges and work harder, there are going to be some incredible shifts that will be happening that will have incredible positive impacts on the future of leadership. I want to share with you a few things that leadership and leaders are going to face and that they will need to address in the new year to really have that incredible positive impact that I believe that leaders are going to have the ability to make this year. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail on them here because I do feel like each really is a larger topic that I have a lot more that I want to share on. So I'll be doing some future episodes on each of them individually in the future, but I did want to cover with you 5 things today that I really do think that leaders will need to focus on and face, so that way we can really come out at the end of 2025 stronger leaders than we have ever been, and really in a fantastic place to take on what I think is going to be a really great shift that will come for all of us in 2026. So let's dive in. The first one that I want to cover today is pedestal leadership versus relatable leadership. Now, for far too long, leaders and leadership has been placed on this pedestal by others and by themselves. Individuals have sought out leadership roles for the title, the prestige, the pay increase, the job grade increase, all the perks, etc. They felt it was the next move that they had to make in order to move up within the company. For a long time, that has been able to be gotten away with, but all of that is shifting. If you are not going into leadership to serve and support others, you are not going to make it. Leaders need to be relatable, not only to the team that reports to them, but to their peers and others within the organization. People truly want to know that you have been where they have, you understand their journey and the challenges that they are facing, and that you are going to be there to support them. And those pedestal style leaders, they don't have that aura or that energy that they're bringing. Again, individuals, they want to know that they can relate to the leader, that you are just as human as them, and that you're going to be able to connect and build that relationship and be there to help support them and their goals. So I do think that's one shift that really is going to happen, is we're going to really move from more of this pedestal where we've put these leaders up on top and really get back down to the relatable leadership that has been successful for us in the past and is going to be required for the future. All right, the second shift is really going from inspiring versus influencing leadership. Now, as John Maxwell says, and you've heard me quote him on this podcast many times, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. Leaders have been inspiring people to believe in their thoughts as the leader, what the leader believed to be true, and wanting their teams to see it their way. Providing inspiration is important as a leader, and it's the entry level of leadership. In the new era of leadership, leaders need to be more influential. not only believing in their teams and their peers, it's being able to influence them to think for themselves, to bring their ideas forward, knowing that they will be heard and respected in that conversation. They're going to need to help their peers and their teams feel free to respectfully speak their mind, share their goals, their desires, what they truly want for their future. It's also going to be influencing them to believe and support the mission and the goals of the organization in good times and in challenging times. Organizations are going to continue to face some challenging times. That is part of just the life cycle of business. There's always good times and challenging times, and leaders need to be able to influence their teams to be there to get the organization through those challenging times to get back to the good times that they've had. Influence is going to be the cornerstone to leadership. Not just the leader influencing others, but the leader also being influenced by others. It's going to be a two-way street. Inspiration is only going to get you so far, and it's not going to get you the buy-in that you need as a leader. Influence is what's going to help you get that. All right, the third shift that is coming is self-leadership versus that leadership influence. Now, I know we just talked a little bit about leadership influence. So I want to talk a little bit about the difference here. You can't lead others if you can't lead yourself first. We've talked about that on the podcast here before. And while leadership is influence, I do firmly believe that it all starts with being able to influence yourself first as the leader. If you don't have a foundation, a solid foundation, and a practice of self-leadership, your leadership influence is going to fall flat. Walk the talk, show the show, lead by example, not just in your actions, but in your words. That self-leadership is going to be one of the things that individuals are going to be looking for from their leader, because they're going to look to their leader to set the tone. They're going to look to their leader to set the example and to show them what leadership truly is. And they're going to look to the leader's thoughts, behaviors, and actions. Is the leader walking the walk and talking the talk? Is the leader doing what they said that they were going to do? And they have leadership over themselves first. People aren't going to follow you if you can't lead yourself. All right, shift number 4. It's really going to be all about innovation. We are going to have to innovate in order to be able to elevate not just ourselves, but our teams and our organizations. Leaders are feeling the pressure to create efficiencies, do more with less, look at how their teams currently work, and how do they need to work differently in the future to be able to support the business, to be able to adapt to the different changes in the world that are coming. I think of things like AI. How are leaders going to leverage AI to create efficiencies in their team, also while making sure that they keep that functional expertise that the human brings to it, because AI is not going to be able to do everything and create every efficiency within your team. We need to be able to adapt to the needs of our clients, to the needs of our team members, to the needs of our organizations. Now, leaders are overwhelmed with all the decisions that they have to make and trying to think differently about the future of work, all while trying to balance the well-being of their team and themselves. That's a lot that falls on the leader's plate. In order to take their individual leadership and leadership in general to that next level, leaders will have to get innovative. I think that's going to be very critical. We have to be able to look at our work differently. The things that worked in the past, they will not always work in the future. And leaders are going to need to be able to shift perspectives, get creative, and tap into the ideas of their team and help their team be able to do the same thing. It's not all going to fall on the leader to innovate. However, the leader is going to need to lead the way and be able to influence their team to be able to bring their ideas forward. It is going to be a group effort for innovation. Leaders just need to start leading the charge in it. All right, the last one the shift that is going to come is personalized, ongoing leader development at all levels in the organization. The days of the general one size fits all leadership development programs, they are gone. And if your organization is still conducting leadership development this way, you are going to continue to struggle, and you will not only lose leaders, you'll lose those that report to your leaders. Handing them courses to take with workbooks, job aids, and role playing, that isn't the solution either. If your organization is only investing in leadership development at the senior level, you're going to struggle even more. And unfortunately, the senior levels in most organizations is where the leadership development is happening. That's where the bulk of the investment is put. And that is going to cripple organizations. I'm not saying that any of that should stop. We absolutely have to invest in the senior levels of leadership. We do need to start shifting and really focusing more on that personalized, customized leader development for our emerging and our new leaders throughout the organization. While I recognize that budgets are going to be tight this year, and seeing a tangible return on investment of every dollar spent is going to be a focus for executives. Leadership development is going to be critical to the success of the business. And while, yes, there are short-term ROIs on leader development, most of them are long-term returns on your investment. And if you don't make the investment now, you're going to have a bigger problem on your hands in the future, because you will not be bringing up that next level of leaders. We are in a place in the workforce where it's already starting in some organizations, and I think it's going to, over the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to start to see more of your senior level leaders either retire, they might take early retirement, they might leave to go start their own business because they are at a place in their life where maybe they need a different structure or schedule or freedom and flexibility to be able to do the things that they want. We saw some of this happening in 2020 when the world shifted, and we're now in a place where I do think that that's going to happen at a greater rate than maybe it did back in 2020 and 2021, as people are looking for different lifestyles. They've reprioritized things, and we're going to start seeing that shift in leaders, and we need to be able to bring up that next generation of leaders and really invest in their development. Personalized leadership development, it needs to take into account an assessment of the individual, their strengths, their areas of growth, etc., and then an individual plan is created to support that growth. They're going to need ongoing one-on-one coaching so leaders can work through the unique challenges that they are going to face, especially our newer leaders, as they might not bring that same level of experience, or this might be the first time that they are ever leading a team. And we need to be able to meet each person exactly where they are. I also think that group coaching is going to be a key aspect of that personalized development, because leaders need to know that they are not alone, and they need to be able to learn from others' experiences. Plus, I do think that group coaching, it can be very affordable when you are looking at tight budgets. It just can't be your only option. I do think that we have to have that personalized development plan. That way, everybody or each of the leaders coming up, that they have the ability to really invest in themselves and what is going to set them up for the most success as a leader. So those are the 5 shifts that I think are going to be coming this year that are all part of the current state of leadership and the future of leadership. Organizations, people, and the world, they need leaders now more than ever. not just leaders who are just showing up. They need leaders that are bringing their A game every day and leveling up their leadership. The future is going to bring challenges. It's all part of leadership. It's all part of life. And leaders will need to show up with resilience, courage, and a desire to keep leveling up to the best versions of themselves. Now, as we get ready to wrap up this episode today, I want to leave you with two things that you can do today to start looking at your current state of leadership and what you need to do to level up in the new year. The first one, of course, break out your journal. You're going to hear me talk more about journaling again this year. I do think that that is such a great exercise and habit and routine to have as part of your leadership. So I want you to break out your journal and I want you to write down the current state of your individual leadership. Where are you right now? How are you feeling? What were your wins for the last year? What were your challenges? Document where you are starting out the new year from. Get it down on paper or an electronic document if that's how you choose to take notes, but get it all out of your head and written down somewhere, because I promise you in December, you won't remember the details of where it is that you are today. And you will want to be able to look back and say, here's where I started the year out and here's where I am ending the year. I also think that really getting a handle on your current state of leadership is going to be key in allowing you to be honest and vulnerable with yourself about what you need to focus on this year. Are one of the 5 shifts that are coming shifts that you need to make? What leader shift do you need to make in the new year? Do you need to shift from pedestal leadership to relatable leadership? Do you need to move from inspiring to influencing? What does that look like for you? And really getting a handle on your current state of leadership is going to be the starting point for that. The second thing that I'm going to ask you to do is schedule your free Level Up Your Leadership session with me. I'm going to ask you some questions that you've probably never been asked before to assess your current leadership. I want to be able to work with you in developing your unique plan to level up your leadership this year and accomplish the goals that you desire. Everybody needs a team that is going to help them get through their goals, that is going to help them work through their leadership this year. And I want to be part of your team and being able to help you do that. So schedule your call today. We can work through it together and talk about what can we do going forward and what are the options that are available to you for us to continue to work together. So you level up your leadership this year. You make the shifts that you need to make to be able to not only achieve your goals, to move your leadership journey forward, and that you end the year in a really great place, excited about what 2026 is going to bring to you. I appreciate you tuning in this week, and I hope that you tune in with me each week this year as we are going to work together to level up your leadership this year. Until next time, my fellow leaders, lead with confidence, show up every day as the leader that you are striving to be, and make the decision today to level up your leadership this year. Thanks for listening to A Leader's Journey podcast. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. If you're excited to learn more, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and tune in next week for another exciting leadership lesson. I'd love to help you level up your leadership, achieve the goals you desire, and design your unique leadership journey. So click the link in the show notes to schedule a free Level Up Your Leadership session. During this time, we will define where you are in several key areas of leadership, where you desire to be, and how you can level up your leadership. You don't need to do this alone, so let's chat today and get your journey started. Don't forget to connect with me on LinkedIn or in the A Leader's Journey community on Facebook, and share this episode with another leader so we can all learn and grow together. That's all for this episode, and I'll see you next week. Until then, lead with confidence, show up every day as the leader you are striving to be, and make the decision today to level up your leadership this year.